Welcome to the I'm Book podcast. I'm April O'Leary, and this is the YouTube version of our podcast. To get the audio version, you can hop on over to Spotify or anywhere that you consume audio podcasts. We are going to jump into some really cool content, so stay tuned for our next guest. We look forward to connecting with you, and be sure to subscribe. And to start your author adventure, hop on over to o'learypublishing.com, where you can map out the entire process and see what writing a book would look like for you. Let's get started.
Okay, we are live. This is April O'Leary, founder of O'Leary Publishing, on episode 19, I believe we are already on for the I'm Booked podcast. And I'm super excited today. I have one of my favorite people on, Elyssa Bloom. She came to me through some various friends of friends on Facebook, actually. And she is a social media expert, and we got to talking, and I needed some help with social media at O'Leary Publishing. And she has come on board and done wonders for what we're putting out on social media. So I thought you, as a possible author or someone who maybe has a business and you're not using social media as effectively as you could, that she would be able to offer some tips to you today and help get you started in the process of really building that golden nugget, that golden social network. So welcome, Elyssa. So glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
And I have to tell on you that Elyssa is a podcast virgin. So she is on her very first podcast. And I love it when people that are in business, whatever business it is, are putting themselves out in a lot of different ways. We have so much media available to us today. And I think really what's prevents people from growing in their businesses, they don't try out all the different things that are available. So good for you for saying yes to come on.
Thank you for having me for my first podcast.
So tell me a little bit about your business with social media, and how did you get started helping people do social media for business?
So it actually happened by accident. I was trying to start a business to help entrepreneurs promote themselves. And along the way, I started to promote my business, helping other businesses. I was learning a lot about social media, and entrepreneurs were asking me, well, like, forget about that, but can you help me with social media? And I kind of started becoming like the social media go-to person and expert. So I was like, okay, this is obviously where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. So I kind of faded into it, and I couldn't be happier.
I love it. You know, it's a good tip right there, even, is that sometimes the things you're good at, other people see first before you see it. That's how I started publishing.
Right.
Is I wrote and published my own books, and I really didn't know that that was a skill that others would want. And then I had people asking me, just like you did, and you're like, wait a second, is that something I could do?
Right.
So now here you are, social media guru, helping entrepreneurs build their social media. And I can say, as someone who's entrepreneurial, social media requires a lot of time and planning and effort. And it's something that can easily get put off till tomorrow, just like going to the gym, right? It's easy to just not do it today. And so when you speak with someone who is inquiring about your business and about how you can step in and help with social media, what are some of the things that people typically struggle with?
So a big thing for entrepreneurs or business owners is the time. They know that they need to be on it, but they're doing what they're good at, their business. So they can't figure out how to fit in time to do social media. And if they do have the time and they don't know how to do it, like you said, they kind of put it off because it's not something that like excites them. Like me, I hate doing bookkeeping. I hate math. So I put it off and put it off until like I have to do it. So people, I think it's a time and they don't know where to begin with social media.
And you know, that's true really with a lot of ways that we can delegate in our own business, is understanding that other people have time and expertise doing things that we might not be good at, that we could potentially learn, but it's not really a valuable use of our time to focus on that stuff. And so that's why Elyssa has been so invaluable here, because we have a lot of projects and authors that are writing books, and we're in the editorial trenches and design trenches and launching and all of this kind of stuff. And so it's not that we don't have the knowledge that it's important to do social
Right.
media. It's just something that's like, oh yeah, and that.
Right. Right.
So it's great. I just want to give her a huge shout out because we have loved working with Elyssa, and she is now going to start working with some of our authors here. And so I want to turn the tables a tiny bit and talk about authoring and about book promoting, because I have found that in my work with authors, that of course they're creatives, they're experts in some area, they have a story to tell or something that they want to help people with. But again, they may not have that social media skills. And so now they've got this book in their hand
Mhm.
and they need to get the word out about it. And social media is a great tool to do that. But you can't just say, here's my book, and now here's my book, and here's my book, because people get really bored with that. And so you don't want to be selling on social media necessarily. You want to be connecting. And so let's talk about some of the ways we're using the book as the product, because obviously we're speaking to authors, but whatever business you're in, whatever product or service you're selling, these tips can apply. So what's one tip that you would say, if you're selling socially some product or service, what's one way you can go about being social on social media?
Oh, I love this question because sometimes we lose track of what social media is. It's being social. It's about having your followers and ideal clients getting to know you and not just your product or your book. So one of my favorite tips is to tell you like that you should post 1 out of every 5 should be a salesy post. So the other 4 are about you and who you are, getting social, asking your audience questions. What's your favorite book? What's your favorite genre? Asking them about them so you get to know them. A quote. Did I say that? Sorry.
No, a quote is great, because here's the thing. If you have a book, you have an entire tens of thousands of words to draw
Right.
from to
Mm-hmm.
create quotes that are shareable. And that's part of what social media is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Creating content that other people want to share.
Right. And one of our favorite things I don't want to forget that we do together is the humor. On Fridays, we do a Fun Friday post, which is so much fun because, first of all, humor tends to get shared on social media. It does well. And it's fun. It gets people to know like a fun side of you. So I love that we do that.
So fun. And it's something interesting to say in social media, because if you think about translating what you do in person into how am I going to get people to understand who I am and my personality as if we were meeting in person.
Right.
And so that's part of my personality is humor. I love making people laugh and I like having a good time. And so it's a natural fit for our brand to make sure that our authors know that writing a book doesn't have to be arduous. It doesn't have to be like your head's in the computer all day and it's going to be this hard work. It's like, this is going to be super fun and it's going to be an awesome project that you're never going to regret. You're never going to look back and say, I shouldn't have done that book. And so
Right.
we have to convey that in the posts.
Right.
So, when you talk about other brands, possibly, we have some authors that do memoirs. We have some authors that do self-help books. We have some authors that do books that are scientifically based on their base of knowledge. How might they translate their personality into their social media? What do you suggest?
Well, I mean, it's still showing up authentically and raw as you. So if you are writing a book to inspire others, write about inspiration, write inspirational quotes, and still show like behind the scenes at what inspires you. So if you're out for a walk one day and you're inspired by the beauty that you see in nature, maybe you'll snap a picture and even post that to your stories, which is on Instagram and Facebook. So,
And let's talk about stories for a minute, because for those of you who are used to the typical post, where you take a picture and you put the post that stays on there, there is a newer feature that some of you may not be aware of called Insta Stories or Facebook Stories. And let's talk about what is that and how can you utilize that and why is it important, frankly?
right. Okay. So if your audience is on Instagram, you'll see the circles at the top, or on Facebook, the circles at the top, and those are the stories. So it's kind of like, I compare it to like a Netflix watching TV. You're just kind of, it's just short clips into people's life and glimpses into their life. I mean, what do people, I mean, we're social human beings. So what do we like? We like being social. So getting those glimpses into people's lives is entertaining. We can't help it as human beings. So since people are sitting there watching it, to post the stories, you're more likely to be seen. And if your stories are interesting
I
enough,
just posted us on stories.
yeah.
So there you go. See, that's part of it. It's like, I know I'm interrupting our podcast now for this brief Insta story message.
Right.
That's as easy it could be. I literally took one quick photo. We're right here. You're probably listening right now to this, maybe in your car on your headphones, but we're recording this by video podcast on Zoom. And so I thought, well, let me just take a quick photo, post it on my Insta stories, and it shows people what's going on live.
Yeah, exactly. It's live. And if your stories are interesting enough, your story is going to be the first one to show up, or like the first 3 to show up on their stories, on your audience stories. So they're always getting you. It's like direct.
And that's the thing. It's like you can keep people active on what you're doing during the day. You're not going to put more than one post on your Instagram page or on your Facebook profile, but you can continually kind of update your stories with little snippets and funny things. And it doesn't have to always revolve around your book. It could be about cooking, could be about, hey, I'm thinking about a new book idea. Have you ever thought about past life regression?
Yeah.
You interested in that? And ask people. I don't know why past life regression came out of my mouth just now. That was like a very random topic. Was that something I need to Google? So
Wow.
anyhow,
Yeah.
I digress. So now you mentioned a little earlier, and I know this is maybe we've been putting the cart before the horse a little bit, and that's my fault because I didn't ask you. The most basic question is, if you're not on social media and you don't have an audience, like you said, if my audience is hanging out on Instagram, someone might be saying like, I don't even have an Instagram profile and I don't really understand Instagram, or how am I supposed to like find this mysterious audience? Like, who are they? Where are they going to come from? How do you help somebody build an audience from scratch?
Okay, so great question. So if you believe that your ideal audience is on Instagram,
And how would I know that though?
so it all backtracks. Every person that I talk to, every author, they need to know who their ideal reader is. They need to know. I mean, you might have an ideal client and it could be more broad, but like if you could create an avatar and the person sitting down to reading your book, what is their name? Where do they live? What do they do? What are their hobbies? And you can like create a person, then you know about them. Give them a name. Her name's Laura, and she loves yoga. She lives in Manhattan. So I'm gonna search hashtag Manhattan yoga and see who's doing it and comment on their post, because that's gonna be the people who are gonna purchase from me. So always knowing your ideal reader or your client and searching the hashtags that they would be using. Maybe they have a book club, hashtag Naples Book Club, and you're going to comment on it. And those are your people, and they're going to come to you like, who's O'Leary Publishing? I'm going to check this out. That's awesome. And they're going to follow you. Does that help?
You make that sound so easy.
Right.
So we are really, because of time here, but we're really simplifying the process. Just like any endeavor, if you have been out of the gym for a long time and you've been eating unhealthy food, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm 50 years old, I'm 50 pounds overweight, what am I going to do? We all know you got to start eating right, and you got to start going to the gym or taking a walk every evening. And it's not going to be like some magical, melt away. It's just consistency over time. And so some of these strategies we're talking about to start building your audience are things that you might have 5 followers the first week, and then you might have 7, and then you might have 10. And so when she's talking about hashtags, it's a combination of posting things and using hashtags, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And it's a combination of showing up in the places where your people are already hanging out online. So you don't want to be talking inside of your own bubble that nobody hears you and knows you are there. If you move to a new town and you like yoga and you turn on your computer and you start doing yoga on recorded YouTube videos, you're not going to meet any people in yoga.
Right.
You got to go to the yoga studio and sign up for some classes and start shaking hands and meeting people. And it's no different online. You take that same concept and you say hashtags is like your location and where are those people hanging out.
Right.
And so explain exactly how you know what hashtags, because I've seen authors put hashtags that make no sense, like hashtag my book is launching this week.
Right.
Why is that not a good hashtag?
So that's not a good hashtag because who's going to search that? So a hashtag is basically a search engine. So if somebody's looking for a new book to read, maybe they're going to search hashtag book review, or hashtag nonfiction book. And then if you have a nonfiction book, it's going to pop up. I mean, I would get even more specific than that because there's a huge range in hashtags. So if you're using a hashtag that has over 1 million posts associated with that hashtag, it's going to get lost. So I would use a range of you could use hashtags like that and you might get found, but also more specific ones. So
and then one thing that we've done that Elyssa has really helped us do at O'Leary Publishing is it's a little bit of a organic process when you start finding hashtags. Like if I go to my, move to a new town, assume Instagram is your new town, and I like, cold pressed juice, I like yoga, I like reading, I like the beach, and I'm a runner, let's say. So I have to find out where are those people in town? How can I find them? And so I might assume that runners hang out at the local park on Saturday morning. And I go to the park on Saturday morning and nobody's there. Well, I find out that that's not where they are. And so when you're finding your hashtags, your locations for your people, you have to do a bit of searching first to find out, are people there? Right. So like I said, if you're using hashtag my book is launching this week and you search that hashtag and you see there's no posts there, nobody's in that location. Right. So you want to create a list. So for O'Leary Publishing, we have a list of hashtags that sort of always apply to things we're posting, like hashtag publisher, hashtag publishing tips, hashtag author tips, hashtag writers of Instagram, for example. So we use those. And then the posts, like today, we put up a post for Fun Friday. We happen to be recording this on a Friday. We used hashtag Fun Friday because people hang out there. And so that's something that you can help someone do. If they're listening right now and they're like, oh my God, if they say the word hashtag one more time, I'm going to shoot myself. They can reach out to us at o'learypublishing.com. You can send me an email, april@o'learypublishing.com, and we'll get you connected with Elyssa, and she can help you build out a list of hashtags that are applicable to your book or to your business, so that you're not talking in a room where nobody's there.
Right. You have the best analogies. You are I'm obsessed. Love it.
So now that we're talking to people in places where they're hanging out, and we're brand new on Instagram, so we just moved to town, and we start making comments on their posts and we start posting our own things. What can we do from there? How do you recommend that people create some sort of a consistent calendar? Do you have any tips for creating content?
Yeah. So, first of all, what you just said, consistent. Showing up consistently is really important. If you, especially on Instagram and Facebook, if you write a post and then don't write a post 2 months later, your audience is going to go away and your posts aren't going to be seen when you do decide to show up. So there's that. And then, I mean, it doesn't have to be daunting or so overwhelming. You can make a grid of 9 topics of what you'd like to post about. So it could be quotes, inspiration, about me, family, fun facts, humor. I don't know. That's 6. 3 more.
That's good. No, yeah. It's great.
So Your why behind the scenes. There's 8. Okay, more. And you can always use those 9, and that's about almost 2 weeks worth of content. And then you just have to plug it in. What are you going to post about this week? And you don't have to necessarily stick to it, but at least that gives you a good idea of how to create content and like what topics to talk about. As far as pictures go, you can take pictures with your phone, or you can create graphics. We do that on Canva, which is a free app, Canva, Canva, which is free graphic designing. It's amazing. Add your logo on it and boom, you're branded.
Perfect. Perfect. It's so true, because now with the ease of apps on your phone, I mean, Canva is an app you can download for your phone, and it's also a website that you can go to and sign up for a profile. But what's nice is, like in working with Elyssa, once a week, we set out a plan for what are our next week's posts going to be. So we create, I say we, she is the genius at creating those images that are going to catch the attention of the people that we want to serve. And then she'll draft up some content, some ideas for what words can go along with those posts. And we have a spreadsheet that we share. And then I'll go in and of course, I'm a writer, so I have to make some adjustments because that's kind of who I am. And then we're ready to fire. So then all week long, like the posts, just like clockwork, show up. So it doesn't have to be like every day I'm waking up like, oh my God, it's Wednesday. What am I going to say for Wednesday today? I just did a post of a flower yesterday. Could I do a quote from my book? And now I'm trying to make a graphic. And then I'm like, all of a sudden I fell off the wagon again. So I would recommend, and something that I have been so happy with and how the two of us have worked together, is just once a week we make the plan and then that's it.
Yeah.
And then it just rolls. So it's just not like every day on your mind. So then in between those times, let's say that they, create, and you could make a social media accountability buddy if you want to go find another author friend that both of you aren't really working on social media, and you want to just do something that's fun together. You guys could plan, each of you help each other plan the social media posts, and then make sure that, hey, did you post yours today? Kind of like you would have a workout buddy. Have an Instagram accountability buddy and comment on each other's things. That's one thing that we did a Zoom call for our authors here at O'Leary Publishing last Friday, and we talked about the importance of supporting your friends in their social media efforts. So when you get together a group of maybe Instagram, friends, and make a pact that you're going to all help comment on each other's stuff, so you don't feel like you're hanging out alone on Instagram.
Right. Exactly.
That can be very sad.
Right. Absolutely.
So the last thing I want to talk about, which may be the largest leap for somebody in social media, but I believe can be the most impactful, is live videos. So over time, I've made a commitment to doing live videos. For those of you who are watching live right now, you can see I have a very heavy spray tan, which hopefully will fade shortly. See, that's real. It's just like the way it rolls here. We just kind of try to be real and have our social media is not like I'm a different person on social media than I am actually in person. I am the same person, whether you meet me virtually or you meet me in person. But going live can be a little scary because it's like, what do I say? Who's going to watch? Will people make fun of me? Do I look bad? What does my background look like? So what are some tips that you would give to someone who is even thinking like 5% that they might be willing to try Facebook Live? Like, what's the benefits of it, and what are some tips that you have?
So going live, you get an alert on your phone. Your audience will get an alert on their phone that says April O'Leary is going live. So it's directly landing in their laps or their hands that you are going live to bring attention to your account. So I would recommend, maybe if you're feeling nervous, to rehearse first. There's nothing wrong with that. So you feel comfortable going live. You can check the lighting, no shame in doing your hair and makeup, just whatever makes you feel confident and comfortable.
And when you say lighting, let me just pause for a second there, because I have a girlfriend who was in video production and all of that. And she's the one who actually taught me that you have to have the light in front of you.
Mhm.
So I've seen lots of video conferences and all that where people have the window behind them because they think, oh, well, I want people to see how pretty it is out of my
Right,
window.
right.
Well, if the light's shining in from your window, your face is very dark.
Yeah.
And so you want to make sure that you're facing a window
Mhm.
and the light source is coming this way.
Right.
And if you want, I'll even show you here, for those of you who can see the video, get a ring light. A
Yeah.
ring light is one of the best tools you will spend your money on to look good on. Not that I look good right now, but I'm just saying it
Do.
can help. It can help. So rehearsing, let's talk a little bit about rehearsing, because I think that for people that don't want to just talk off the cuff, there's a lot of things you can do to prepare yourself. So what are some ways that you would say, here are some tips to getting prepared to do a live?
Yeah, so when I first started doing lives, I actually wrote post-it notes and put them right in front of me. I mean, it's kind of like public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it
It
is.
is public
Yeah.
speaking.
So the tips that you learn in public speaking 101 is is the same things that I would apply now. So, you can get post-it notes and kind of look at the notes. And one of the things that I do and need to do is, right, don't say cross out
Yeah.
But rehearsing and getting the words out and practicing will help you feel more comfortable when you do go live. And just know that, at the end of the day, what does it matter if you do mess up? That makes you real. It makes you a real human being. Your audience is going to like, know, and trust you, which is so important. And it's all good. Show up, be you. And that's what people want to see.
Totally agree with you. It's showing up, it's building the trust and credibility with your audience. And to be honest with you, I've never watched someone's live and been like, oh my God, they were terrible. Like,
Right.
I always feel like, oh my God, good for them. They went live. And the truth is, you get better over time
Mhm.
and it becomes something that is fun and can actually be kind of therapeutic. I have had authors that will get on and they'll read parts of their book live, or they've done a book group. And so they know every Friday they're going to go live, they're going to read part of the book. You could even do Zoom,
Mhm.
and stream your Zoom live, which is
Right.
what we're doing right now. So that's a feature Zoom has available. If you have a pro account, I would recommend doing it that way. And then you can stream a book club live, which would be super fun.
Yeah, those are great ideas.
So yeah, there's so many ideas. It's just like there's no end to the amount of ideas. The truth is, just like Elyssa said, you have to just get out and do it. Just try different things and see what your audience responds to. You may think that Fun Friday is super fun and nobody likes it. Nobody is responding to your Fun Fridays because maybe that's not your personality. Your audience, maybe they're more serious, maybe they're more reflective or contemplative, maybe they're more interested in academics, for example. And so they really would prefer you stick to like statistics and, new studies that have been released and all that. So you just have to get to know your audience. And as you start building that like-minded group of people around you, it becomes really fun
Yes.
because it's become something that it's like showing up at your party that you created because
Right.
you drew all of these like-minded people together. And the benefit is you become the expert.
Right. Right. You can even do a Q&A live, questions and answers, and they just ask you, how did you get inspired from your book? Another way to get them. And then you just have to answer the questions that you already know the answers to. So.
Perfect. Perfect. I love that. So for those of you who are listening now and are saying like, oh, I know I need to start social media, because I think we all feel like we know what we need to do. It's just finding the time, having the knowledge, making the commitment to be consistent. Those are the real issues that we struggle with in anything that can be beneficial in our life. It's not necessarily just social media, it's exercising, eating right, making your bed, whatever. It's just making the decision that you're going to do it. And so we at O'Leary Publishing believe strongly that social media is the way to get people more aware of your book, to sell more books, to help more people.
Mhm.
And if you're interested in having a social media consult, Elyssa and I would be happy to talk with you about that. Just hit us up at o'learypublishing.com or tag us on Instagram at O'Leary
Ooh,
Publishing.
I like that.
How about that? Any parting words that you have to say today? How was the first podcast for you? You
Yeah.
feeling okay?
I hope so. I'll have to see
You're
when I
coming
go
out of the
through it.
operating room all stitched up.
Yeah.
You're good to go. The anesthesia's wearing off. There's
Yeah.
no pain.
Yeah, you'll see now I'm gonna try to be on hundreds of podcasts. Every day I'm booked.
Oh my God. Yes. And you started with the I'm Booked podcast. So don't forget us when you become the social media guru. It all started here.
From your mouth.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. To get the Influencer's Path to Successful Publishing free, you can visit us at o'learypublishing.com. That will answer all your questions about how to take your idea from just an idea to a manuscript. And if you have a manuscript, how to understand what's available on the publishing landscape for you today. Thank you, Elyssa, for your time. I really appreciate it. You're fun and exciting and knowledgeable as always. And I know our listeners got a lot out of it.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone, have a great day.
So this has been another episode of the iBook podcast. I'm April O'Leary signing off. Be sure to hop on over to o'learypublishing.com to start your author adventure and see what writing a book could do for you in your profession, in your career, and what doors it might open. We thank our guests for being a part of the show today, and be sure to subscribe to podcasts here on YouTube. We look forward to serving you and helping you get your book out into the world.